say much about Oasis and the work we do. I want to thank you all, thank you, Pastor, thank you, both the Jones, for giving me this opportunity to speak on behalf of Oasis. And I even want to thank all of you who have been supporting Oasis for many years. And I want to give regards from back home, from all my staff, and say thank you for being there and supporting. Because if it wasn't for you all, I don't think we would have reached where we have reached today. As last time I told you a bit about trafficking of the woman and what happens, but the issue about missing children is becoming very high in India. And you could imagine that the statistics shows that every 8 minutes, one child would go missing. So that is around 5,400 children per month are going missing. And this is what is just what we have researched, but I think there are more children who are going missing. One of the greatest things is the population of India is so much, and there are so many people all around that every child may be missed. Some person will be going through something, and we would just oversee that because there are people all around. And basically, why a child would go missing? Definitely all of you would know that poverty is one of the reasons. In the rural India is very poor. There are a lot of kids, there are a lot of children. There are no proper facilities, there are no proper school. So in one classroom, there will be like 50, 60 children of all ages. So, so one of the reasons is of poverty would be that there are a lot of children and the parents are not able to take care of the children. And there's one culture in India wherein when the boy child would grow up, he is supposed to take care of his parents. And the second thing is the girl child is not given much importance. It's because anyway she's going to get married, so she's still a liability. So both these cases have impacted trafficking even more in India. The boys would feel that once, like even when they are young and when their parents are not able to support the family, they would feel that they are responsible to take care of the parents, to take care of their siblings. So even at the age of, if you see this boy, he's very young, but he has this thing that I will go with my elder brother and I will, fend some food for the family back home. So at the age of 6 years, at the age of 8 years, these children come into cities. And even with girls, one of the reasons of because how the girls are trafficked would be because their own mothers, their own uncles, their own aunts have sold them. So we had some girls, as I was mentioning last 2 years back, that they had come to the city of Mumbai at the age when they were 8 years old and they were put into prostitution. So there are various reasons why a child would go missing. Some of the times we have this Bollywood and Hollywood, and everybody wants to be a superstar, wants to be a Shah Rukh Khan. He's a very famous actor in India. And this craze of having a very rich, nice life, a life which is not full of pain, they would think of, I'm tired of this life where I have to struggle for every meal, or I have to keep on working hard. I'm not able to go to a school. So these children would think that, life back in the city would be much easier. So they would, they would come to the cities. One of the other reasons of trafficking would be unawareness, because people back home, back in India, in the villages, they have no idea what is happening in the cities. So many of these traffickers would go to the families of these poor villages and poor families and would give them a hope that your child will do very well in school. We'll put him in a good school. We will even give him a small job where he will be able to earn some money and send back to you. So the whole idea about why we thought about 6 pounds or 500 rupees for people to raise is because one girl was sold for something like a 6 pound in India. So that is how the whole scheme came about, trafficking. Um, Basically, once the child is trafficked, it depends if it is a boy or a girl. Mostly the girl child is put into prostitution, and the boys are put into very hard labor. This you can see everywhere in Mumbai. So if you come to the city, like most of the hotels will have this young boys working. Most of the roads, many of the roads will have this boys and, boys, girls begging for food. Nowadays, there's a trend about infant babies going missing from the hospitals. And we see many of the ladies on the street with a very small child begging. And it's becoming very common. And so we need to stop this. And one of the main reasons we found that if we as Oasis don't help these children out, there'll be many more who will get lost. And so what we thought of few solutions, we thought, what can we do as Oasis? What can we do as an organization? We thought that we would raise awareness programs. So one of the things we have started doing is going to various villages and raising awareness about trafficking, because there's like parents literally have no idea where the child is going. They're trusting the trafficker so much that they would just send their child away. And for years and years, they would never see their child again. And sometimes, because the child is so small, young, he will never be able to ever come back home because he has no idea from where he has come. So we have these kind of girls coming to us, and the trauma that they go through is so in depth. And so the trauma, like, feeling rejected, feeling hopeless, because a girl, when she's put into prostitution when she's 8 or 9 years old, she has to attend to 30 or 40 customers in a night. They are kept behind walls, they are kept behind cupboards in very dark places, because for a child to do this work is illegal in India. So they are not kept openly. And then the whole system about the government and the police are still not very supportive. Some of the police do support us, and some, but they don't support us at all. And it's very difficult to make out, because it's a big racket, and there's like a lot of money involved in it. So to get everybody involved is very difficult, because of the money, definitely. Everyone, we have seen that the best girls, the young girls, they go to the politicians. So it's very difficult to, actually go very deep into the issue. But one thing we started doing is we started working at the railway stations. And because we know that there is a very strong link between missing children and trafficking. So as we started working at the railway stations, we started observing that many of these children would come alone, or they would come with a trafficker. So recently, and how do we work with them is like basically we observe, because some of these children, when they are coming, they are very small and they are very sleepy. So we can come to know that they are drugged on the way. So they are just being dragged in their sleep. Some of them are very scared. Some of them are very uncomfortable. Some of the traffickers don't look at all similar to the child. The age group is so different. So we come to know that there's something not right. So what we do is we basically separate the trafficker and the child, and we start asking them questions. Before coming to UK, I had recently been to one of the railway stations. We work in the nights, whole nights, sometimes days, sometimes nights. I was working at the railway station at around 2 o'clock or 12:30, 2 o'clock, somewhere in the middle. And we saw this very young girl. She was she said she was 16 years old, but we figured out she looks like a 14 or 13 years of age. And she was coming along with this guy. There was one boy along with her. He also looked quite young, but he looked little older to the girl. And we knew there was something wrong, and we just I took the girl aside, and other staff took the boy aside, and we started asking her, what is your name, and what is the name of the person who is bringing you. And we asked him the same question separately. Even the names were not matching. Both of them were saying some different names only. So we knew definitely something was wrong. Then with much questioning, no, they don't answer immediately. They take quite some time to answer. So with much questioning, we found out that this girl, this boy had promised to marry her in the city. And so we asked this boy, where are you taking her? So he said, one of my friends gave me this number. I have to call them, and then, I will have to go there. So there was no proper address. There was nothing that he was able to tell. And we knew that if we would have not found this girl, she would have been sold into something which was totally terrible for her. So basically, when these girls are sold, they are the trauma that they go through at that age is so terrible, because even now, after I've been working in Oasis for around 14 years now, and even till now, when I hear their stories, it's so sad, because when they are just not given any food to eat for days, if they refuse to do so, they are drugged, they are raped again and again, they are just told that now you will never be able to see your family. So this is this for you. It's like their spirits are totally broken. It's like your limbs, they just don't work. It's like there's no hope. And that is what they just break your hope. And they keep you under observation, that even if the girl wants to kill herself, I'm not saying that they should, but it's like 24 hours they're under observation. So even if a girl wants to go to the toilet, she's followed, so that she doesn't do anything to herself. And by around after 5-6 years and all, they just get used to it. So Oasis works on the platforms. Oasis works in the red light area. Oasis even has a home for these girls, and to reach them from one point to other is very difficult. In the sense, we try to bring them back to a stable community. And so I will just tell you a story. I'll end by saying this story, and something else also I want to say. Yeah. So there was this girl who came to us. She was one of the very prettiest girls I had seen. She was so pretty. And I think she was rescued when she was 14 or 15 years of age. So most probably they don't know what age they have been sold, because they don't have birth certificates and all that in the rural villages. Nobody tells them that, you're born on so-and-so day. So there's no knowledge about all that. There's no knowledge about the 7 days in a week or 12 days in a month. So they have no idea about all those things. So they tell us, like, when I was so small, I was sold. So this girl was sold by her mother's sister, because her parents passed away, and her aunt brought her to Mumbai city, and she was sold. So mostly, I think she was around 6 years of age or 8 years of age approximately where she was sold. And she went through the same abuse and same, difficulties. Then she was rescued. When she was rescued, it was very difficult for her to stay back in, because they get this urges of alcohol, of drugs, because sexual urges, because that is what has been happening with them every night. So she used to cry, she used to feel terrible, and somehow, but she moved on. But suddenly she had this deep desire to see her younger brother. And so when she was very young, she was brought, so we had no clue from where to, search her brother. Only we knew that she has come from a state called Calcutta. And so in faith, with a lot of prayer, my staff and we went to Calcutta with the girl. And so she only told the taxi driver, we were continuously praying whole way that she remembers something. And she only told the taxi driver that, there's a mosque, and next to a mosque, there's a ground, and there is where my home is. And now the taxi driver looked at us with such weird face and he said, there are 100 of mosques and 100 of grounds, and where do I take you? So we were just waiting there at the station, and we had traveled around more than 24 hours to reach from Mumbai to Kolkata. Is very far. It's like by local train. Actually, it takes 2 nights and a day. So we had traveled so far, and then we just stood there praying what to do. Suddenly, this taxi driver tells us, come sit in the taxi. And we sit in the taxi with him, and he just takes us somewhere. We are also going. We have no idea where we are going. And the girl also has no idea. So he takes us. And suddenly, she says, after around 20 minutes or so, I recognize this building. And then suddenly we see this mosque and this ground. I don't know what happened that day. It was more than a miracle. It was only God who showed. I don't know what happened to the taxi driver. Like he just took us to the right place. Then we kept on asking the name of her brother and her aunt, her family name. And we came to know where she stayed. People just directed us. And one of the most beautiful sight I'll never forget, when her brother just came running, and when he saw his sister, he recognized her. And they hugged and they cried and cried. That was something is so awesome. It's still in my mind, even now after quite some, this is some time back story. So it was just so impacting to see lives change. Trafficking not only breaks the girl, it breaks the family. It breaks many people who are involved with it. I want to end by saying something from the Bible, which I just felt, something that God put in my heart yesterday to share. I just felt that the heart of God, the Father heart, is a heart full of love. And I felt that when God told Hosea to marry the prostitute Hosea, he just wanted to show the people of Israel that no matter how many times you go away, I will still love you. And that is something which has happened in my life as well. I've been a Christian, but I've come, gone. And this is the same with these girls. They struggle to come back into a stable society. But this is what God has done in my life, and this is what I can say that God keeps on doing in the lives of these people, that He keeps on showing the love, God's love to them, and that is how their lives change. I felt that I was reading Hosea 2:16, and it says, in that day, declares the Lord, you will call me my husband. You will no longer call me my master. Gomorrah and Israel was away from God many times. They came, they left, they came, they left. But the heart of God is to have a very deep relationship. And that is same I feel that He wants to do with these girls. He just doesn't want them to save them or to, just restore them. But He wants to have that deep relationship of love with them, of how a husband and wife relationship is, just to love them, just to hug them. And that is what I felt God doing for me as well, and for all of us, I felt as a church to share, that God wants to have that very, very deep relationship. It's not just like something, okay, we know God is there, God helps me, but something new, something just more than that, a relationship of love where we can tell God every day something new, and God tells us every day something new. And I want to read from Matthew 21, chapter 21, verses 31 to 32. I'll read it from my mobile. Okay, so it says, which of the two did what his father wanted? The first, they answered. Jesus said to them, I tell you the truth. The tax collectors and the prostitutes are entering the kingdom of God ahead of you. For John came to you to show you the way of righteousness, and you did not believe him. But the tax collectors and the prostitutes did. And even after you saw this, you did not repent and believe. I truly have seen that these girls grab the love of God because they have never got it. So I just want to encourage you all to help Oasis show this love of God to these girls because they have never got any love in their life. And only the love of God can touch them. And I think God would be so happy to have a very deep relationship with them as well. So thank you everyone for listening.